So hello everyone and welcome to our podcast today. So today we have with us the very talented young Vainika Ramana Balachandran, who has given us his time. So Ramana, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? So it's beautiful here. So
we're all keeping well and keeping safe in London. And how are you finding the situation with the lockdown in India at the minute?
It's just a lot of time for introspection and really thinking about how it actually feels to not go outside and do your work wherever you are. And it's a different mindset that I'm experiencing, and it's interesting to see myself and observe myself in this period. I'm learning a lot by doing so.
And for those who don't know, so you live in Tiruvannamala,
Yes.
and it must be quite a peaceful sort of setting without the devotees there, sort of flocking right now.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely tranquil and now, especially because of the lack of visitors and even the lack of some inmates. It's absolutely quiet and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I mean, I'm sure the same goes for Ranjan and Marthungi. It's one place I haven't visited, but I really want to at some point in the future. So Ramana, to start things off, we'll sort of just get to know a little bit about you and talk a bit about your background as well, and where your interest in music has come from. So tell us a little bit about when you started playing the veena, because you weren't all that, I mean, you are quite young, but you weren't all that young when you started playing the veena. So tell us about the process and how you got into it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was basically an accident. So my mother plays the veena, and she taught me the basics since I was, I think, 5. Just until Geetams and all that. So she was the one who really, wanted me to learn music and took a lot of initiative. And then, incidentally, her guru, from whom she learned in Trichy, settled down in Bangalore, where we lived at that point of time. And she resumed her classes with her. And then once she was playing Sadhin Chennai at home, and then I found out a mistake in her playing, and she was kind of picked by that, and then she asked me to play it. And all I remember is that I was quickly able to relate to the instrument and felt kind of a deep connection with it. Though I'm saying things like deep connection and everything now, but back then it was just a mundane question that my mother asked me. So yeah, that's how I began this wonderful journey, which I hope to continue.
And you were just able to play that portion of Sadhin Chennai that you identified the mistake in? Or?
Not really play, but well, it seemed like I knew what to do. I'll put it that way.
How old were you when this incident happened?
I was 9.
You were 9, okay.
Yeah. And then after 3 years, my first concert was when I was 12.
And so in terms of your progression, so that's that's quite considered a quick turnaround, right? From starting a new instrument, especially something like the veena, to elevating to a very high level of performance. So how staggered and, what was the process in those 3 years? How quickly did you transition through the steps, the starting from the basics? Did you start from the basics or did you go straight up to Kriti? How did it work for you?
So I was nice enough to have a teacher who started me with Arabi Ragam. She was a teacher who taught me the basics of veena playing, so the basic techniques. But when it came to Manodharma, it was my father who, really, gave me a lot of valuable guidance and does so even now. The point when my music became really intense is after those, 3 years. So after my first concert, someone uploaded that onto YouTube, and then someone saw it, and people liked my playing, and then they wanted more. So that's how I started, performing concerts. So when it came to performing, my academics took a back seat for almost 2 years. So I was practically just doing music most of the time. So those were probably the most intense years, I should say. And then I learned a huge lot in that. in that period of time. And then I had to really buckle up for my 10th grade exams. Yeah, so those few years of very intense music, I think, is what I really value. So,
How did you were homeschooled, so how did that support all of your music
so
development?
I actually went to school till 5th grade. I've been homeschooled since my 6th grade. And the whole reason we wanted to, my father wanted me deschooled was because of his dissonance with the education system as it is in India right now. And in general, not only in India. So it's basically like saying the kid basically has just studies and nothing else once he's in 8th grade, and there's nothing else to think about, and it's kind of enforced, and there's a lot of richness that's lost. And I feel extremely fortunate to have met a variety of people, interacted with them, then gotten to perform, and I've been exposed to a lot of richness because of schooling. And in fact, the two main misconceptions are that I was very bad at school, and that's why I was homeschooled. And then the other misconception is that I was deschooled because of my music, which is not the case. So music became intense after my homeschooling started. So
do you think that your homeschooling, when you interact with your peers who were schooled conventionally, do you find a difference of approach to life and also even to your music because of that?
So the main thing for me was this. I got to learn whatever I wanted at my own pace and for how much of a time I wanted to do that. So that was like a huge opening for me. And even in academics, I mean, if I really wanted to, I used to just go to a playlist in Khan Academy and then surf through some logarithm videos when I was in 6th grade. So it was a lot of fun. And that attitude kind of rubbed off on my musical journey. So I got a lot of intense time in music because of homeschooling. So that intense time is because of that attitude, which basically allows you to do whatever you feel that is important at that point of time and then do it at your own pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think the aspect of pursuing your studies at your own pace and at the time that you want to, was that also an approach that you have with your music, or was that much more regimented of, I must practice this much, I must achieve this much by, or was that also quite free, do you think?
So the thing is, in my academics, I didn't really take any exam until my 10th grade. So it was pretty unstructured. And though we were regimental because in the sense that the first maybe 1.5 years, I worked a lot in math, like maybe 6 hours a day, very regimental. But the thing is, after that, it became quite unstructured. I didn't have a set syllabus that I was working with. But in music, because I was actually performing concerts, something that you have to work towards.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it was more regimental. Yeah.
So something maybe some of our viewers might not know about you. So you've got a YouTube channel, and besides music, you seem to create lots of videos, or maybe you used to. Could you tell us more about some of those old videos that you created?
So I was kind of into animation for some time. Yeah. And it really taught me what patience was. So I've not done a lot of animation, to be honest. I've just done maybe 18 hours in my whole life. I enjoyed that, engrossment. It's beautiful the way the images just play together and form something that beautiful at the end of like 3 hours. And then once you see that, you're just urged to do more. And then that feeling is very satisfying. And the maximum that you could do at any point of time is just, draw one line or just maybe fix one image to the minutest amount. So that was interesting to me. And then I was into magic for a long time. Magic, card tricks basically. And then I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, learning them and performing to my friends. And, I was also into paper airplane making. I used to make literally thousands. And the maid at home used to curse me, saying, "This guy is throwing off thousands of sheets of paper." And origami, of course. Yeah.
So kind of all artsy hobbies all around in terms of the animations as well. So in terms of your performing as well, so having attended several of your concerts, I know Marthungi has as well. Any audience member will know you sing very well and you also play very well, and you do these simultaneously. Being a vocalist, but having just started playing the veena in the last 6 months, I found it incredibly difficult to do both together. So is this something you've been able to do naturally, or did you have to train and work really hard at being able to coordinate? How did you kind of get that coordination?
To be honest, I've not really worked really hard at it. So there are a few things here. So the Shruti at which I play the veena is very different than the Shruti at which I sing. So that's a clash. So the thing is, I'm focusing on that more now because my voice is, broken. So it's more of a problem now. Until then, it was much easier for me to sing together. But the coordination part, I think I still have problems with that. You might not notice it in my concerts, but when I come back home and listen to it, oh yeah. So even now, today I was listening to one of my concerts. And I was kind of focusing more on my singing, and then that took a toll on my playing. And I was like, oh my God. So it sounds really bad.
No, I would disagree, respectfully disagree. I think your transition from vocal to veena is so seamless. So I think
what I try to do though in my concerts is, especially nowadays with my father's guidance also, is to kind of sing where you really feel like, let's say it's a Neravel section, and then you really just feel like bursting into singing. That I feel is very organic. And sometimes singing and playing together doesn't go well. The thing is, it's too much to focus for the audience. So, whereas if you do something like a Vedam simultaneously, I think it sounds really good. Nowadays, it's a lot of that, trying to see where I really feel like singing. So if it's like a Bhuloka Vaikuntham in Orangasai, I just feel like singing Bhuloka. And I know that I have some depth in my voice and I like to use it in ways that I find pleasurable.
And that's a very interesting point. I mean, on one hand, I guess it's resurrecting a tradition that used to be quite common, right? Singing and playing the veena at the same time. So in one way, you're kind of bringing back a tradition that we don't have much of now. But interestingly, you also mentioned about Vedam recital. And I read in one of your interviews that in Tiruvannamalai, you also recite Vedas and there's a lot of discipline involved in that study as well. And I have an interest in this because I'm a student of Samagana. And
really? Very nice.
How do you find the discipline of learning Vedas and recite? Has that rubbed off in any way on your music at all?
So I actually learned Vedas for a very short, very intense Veda for a short period of time. So it was after my thread ceremony. So I spent about a month at the ashram with the kids learning Veda, and that was like hardcore, like Gurukulam types.
Sante and all that stuff.
Yeah, Sante, Thiruvai, all that. So to be honest with you, I really didn't think about it deeply. I just did it because it was recommended to me by my parents, and Amma loves Veda. So, and the thing is, I should also say that I was very attracted to Vedam from the perspective of just sound or music.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I used to really enjoy Rudram, the way it traverses through those three notes and those combinations. I just used to love them. So I learned that very fast. And after that intense 1 month, I even thought of, going full-time Veda. So, and then I was learning Veda from a person in Bangalore who used to come home. But I can't say that I've done that intense enough to notice things that rub off on my music. So I can't really say that.
Right. I guess aspects of the discipline may be similar, but there's a lot of difference between the two fields, especially.
And I think I've not experienced enough of that to answer your question. So
fascinating.
Honestly,
So speaking of spirituality, so I attended your Jasur concert this December season.
Okay.
I think one thing everyone who was there, everyone who listens to your music will agree on is the one word that comes to mind when we hear your music is divine. You just overflow with emotion, the musicality aspect, the lyrics. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. How do you sort of develop yourself is that something that comes naturally to you, or?
I'll put it this way. I like to have moments in the kacheri where there's a reduction in the sense of identity with myself, and it's more of that music that takes the front seat. And you're really one with that note when you do that note, and it's just that. And you might just play a sariga, but that might be like it might be able to horripilate me emotionally. I think it's just that intensity that rubs off. And when you see great musicians perform, you have those moments when they really lose themselves. It might be just Shruti Shuddham or, you know, but I was just thinking about it recently. Is it just that Shruti Shuddham that is so important? So let's say I sing Edukala Kamboji and let's say I sing it absolutely pitch perfect. Is that enough to give that divinity?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because I think it's beyond that. It's beyond just having Shruti Shuddham. It's more of that person that, how do I say it? It's that presence. It's that presence that really moves me. And I try to, have that in my concerts as much as possible.
I'm just saying maybe it's better we leave divine undefined for that purpose.
I think, the word intense that you used is perfect to explain it, because I mean, what I was curious to know is it because you are so immersed in the raga aspect, or is it because you know the meaning of the song, that you fall into the meaning of it? Or is it because you're naturally such a spiritual person that music just connects you? It's almost like the bridge between you and the spiritual aspect of music.
I don't think that I'm that kind of a spiritual person. I'm trying to be, because I do enjoy those moments, but I think it's more of that, until last year, or maybe 1.5 years back, or even more, maybe 2 years back, I was more moved by the raga. So if I played a kriti, and it's more of that path those swaras take, and that was what really moved me. So even just a re in sahana was enough to just satisfy me for that moment. So it was more of the raga that moved me. But since about 2.5 years, I've been learning all the meanings for the songs that I learn. So it's a different experience. So sometimes that is enough to move me. So I recently learned Sita Nayaka, Preeti Gowda, and it was so beautiful.
There's something about the syllables and the placement of the syllables
exactly.
In the notes, which transcends even the meaning of the words.
Exactly.
Yeah. And sometimes it just feels like the tune and the meaning are so well
connected.
Connected. That connection is something that you really relate to.
On a similar note, actually, your Kalpana Swarams and your style of Manodharma is so full of elegance and also quite sophisticated kanakku. And, you mentioned about studying maths and all that in a lot of detail. I guess, you, like many musicians, will have tried to balance the tension between complexity and mathematical complexity and musical elegance. And for me, your swarams and your swarapraswaram is the perfect illustration of that balance. How do you find, where did that influence of the kanakku and how to make it so elegant, where did that come from for you?
I would impute a lot of that to my father. And so I was this ultra kanaki person. So it's fully into korvais and tirmarams, and I used to make literally hundreds of them. And I still have all those recordings, and always making korvais and all that, because I was into mridangam also. But at some point you realize that my father just said this to me, and it kind of struck me then. Like the korvai is basically going to occupy maybe 30 seconds of your concert time. And then I used to work so much for that. And then it was kind of funny to realize that. And then it's not really because of that, but if you think about it, most of the korvais it is a lot of work to make them musical. I mean, they are innately not that kind of an organic path that the music can take after. Yeah. So it's many time I wonder, should I even play a korvai? Should I just finish with some kind of a raga based pattern? Which I've done a lot of times. And
but even so, especially in your the Korupa sections and stuff, I've noticed the elegant patterns that you have are always extremely musical, and they
I'm glad that you asked that question, because I'm like a huge fan of BMK sir. I was introduced to him since a long time, because my father basically learned from BMK sir for some time. So he thought that it might be distracting to me if I was introduced to BMK when I was starting to learn music. So he took his own time, and then if you really see, all that gold is really in those 60s and 70s period. So it's, oh my God, it's just amazing to see the kind of korapus, and especially BMK's korapus are really, really like so creative, spontaneity, creative raga elegance in those korapus. And that's where I derive a lot of my inspiration. And it's also because of Lagudi Mama that I was interested in making, Kanakku is very musical. And when you actually do that, you realize, oh my God, it's even just like a he's notated that in swaras so beautifully. So it just brings out that raga's flavor completely. So inspiring. So there's one of my sources of inspiration. So BMK sir and Lagudi Mama, for sure.
And do you find initially that sort of learning them almost as compositions until you become fluent is an important part of getting fluent with kanakku, or is it more about experimenting in the moment on the stage?
Yeah, so I mean, there's something that we derive from each composition that we learn, and it's you might learn a composition that you might think might not contribute to the korappu, but in some indirect way it does. So
filters in somewhere.
Yeah, and then for the korappu, I think it requires specific work of actually practicing, doing, or trying to be elegant with some kanakku. Or I mean, I also like this style of korappu where there's no kanakku, but there's just like random patterns, which brings out the raga. And it need not be mathematical patterns. It just can be even a 6, 7, 9. So it need not fall into any
following a logic
structure.
As such. Yeah.
So that's actually pretty tough. It's very tough to get those on spot, and it requires a lot of spontaneity and practice and fluency with the raga to get those right. And that's a huge journey that I'm in. So
fascinating answers for all those. Thank you.
As much as I do kanakku korapus in my concerts, I like to have like a bulk section for this no kanakku section, where it's left to that moment and your practice takes over.
Yeah, that's a good tip for all of us, I think, aspiring musicians.
Yeah. And so last December season, Marthungi and myself were actually in KGS when you performed with Ramakrishnan Murthy as a duet. So tell us a bit about what it was like collaborating.
It was brilliant. I just want to say it was a brilliant collaboration.
Yeah, Ramana has been a huge inspiration to me since I've ever embarked on my journey. So I've learned a lot from him, from all his recordings. And I mean, the first time that we did that was in this sabha called Nayaki Sabha in Chennai. And there's a lot that I gained from him, and I just see it like that. So it was nice to share the stage with him. And his raga understanding is, I mean, he's listened to the old masters, distilled all the wisdom, and he can just produce. If you want to listen to a hardcore Kamboji with the best nuances, I mean, Ramana is definitely one of the people you want to listen to. And it was a fantastic. When you play with him, you get to play ragas like Shuddha Simantini, Nayaki, and Paras and all that.
And so when you guys collaborate together, is there like prep that goes on beforehand, or how much of it is just on the stage of the spontaneous?
So we basically decide the list of songs that we want to present, and we look at the patantrams.
Tell you're a Sanskrit student.
No, I was just corrected by my father yesterday, so I'm extra cautious now. So we just look at our patantrams. We exchange sangatis. I play some of his sangatis, he plays some of my sangatis, and then we decide the core wise, see which pallavi to play, and it'll be butted in by my amma coming and saying, "Oh, why don't you play this?"
Yeah, we've all had that experience.
Saying,
We can definitely relate to that.
You can relate.
Yeah, and then after that we just decide like roughly, who does what at what time. So it's more of like an overall structure that we plan. It's not the nitty-gritty.
I think that's what makes it beautiful, the give and take on stage.
Yeah.
In terms of, so obviously you perform a lot and you must practice a lot. There's a lot of prep that goes on for that as well. And you're constantly learning. How do you find that balance? Because you've obviously got to continuously improve your repertoire and like build on that as well. And you've had your A-levels this year.
Yeah, the A-level part was pretty tough. Yeah. Ever since I started playing or started performing, my parents have kept on drilling this into me, and I'm glad that they did that, is that you have to keep learning as first priority and performance is just incidental. I like to put it that way. So yeah,
performance is like a side effect of your learning, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think none of the three of us and anyone watching this would be surprised if you're going to just be immersed in veena and giving us that amazing music for the rest of your life. Do you have any other sort of ambitions or interests outside of that in terms of plans for the next few years, or is it fully immersed in music for the time being?
Well, music is going to be a huge and serious part of my life, of course. But I also like to have something other than music, something like a getaway hobby to refresh myself and then come back afresh. So I was kind of interested in programming during my A-levels. So I did a bit of programming, just the very basics. And then I found that very interesting. But the thing is, if you put your head into that, it's like that is engrossing too. And then, but to be honest, I don't feel the urge that I feel with music in any other thing as of now. I mean, I could do animation for like 1 day or 2 days, or even programming for 1 week. I don't know. But to be able to sustain that is a different thing. So
I was going to say you could do some music animations for the Carnatic realm.
Yeah, I could do that. But to be very frank, I don't think, at least as of now, there's this person called Jacob Collier. He does
he's great.
Yeah, I think he is an Adha yogi. So he's like doing 18 hours a day, and he's completely fresh even after those 18 hours. So I don't think I'm that kind of a person. Though I can sustain like easily like 6 to 7 hours a day, I do like to have something to get away, like, and get back fresh. So
you had a question about hands.
Yeah, I mean, Marthungi's a violinist as well as a vocalist, and I've started learning veena from Kalyani ma'am in Chennai, and my hands blistered within a few days, and my hands were like, bleeding and stuff. So how do you manage that? Are they very hard and calloused up now permanently?
Oh yeah, I've experienced like really severe pain after some concerts, and it kind of gets to you when you play continuous concerts, like consecutive days, 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, and it kind of gets to the bones. You feel that bone fatigue and muscle fatigue, and you feel it until your shoulder. So it's pretty bad.
Do you have any hand care regime?
Yeah, so the thing is, I had a problem which basically made my skin split without blood. So it used to split right below my groove that forms when you play. So that was apparently happening because of my water consumption. There's like a special ointment that I use every day for my fingers. And of course, yoga.
Yoga.
Yeah. I had a lot of trouble with my lower back. So I resumed my yoga, and it's completely perfect.
So you would definitely advocate yoga for not just musicians, but everyone on a daily basis.
Absolutely. After my exams, I was very indisciplined. I was just lazing around and, having like a pseudo achievement feeling. So, very victoriously spending my time recklessly. And then you realize my back is, really horrible. And then I got back to yoga recently.
Probably, all the sitting and studying at the desk, right? And then the veena practice, But very, very interesting answers for all the questions. So, Ramana, you know the score. Ready for the 21 questions?
Yep.
Okay, let's start. So, first up, one other Vainika from past or present that you'd love to collaborate with?
Balachandran sir.
Your favorite Indian festival of the year?
Pulayar Chaturthi, because I get good corkatites.
Nice. Nice.
Definitely a plus, yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. Most memorable piece of feedback you've received from an audience member so far?
Okay, this is not really feedback, but it's basically about a person who came to me and then asked, like, so how many years have you been learning, and then all that, and then she says, "Kirtana's na ora." It's like, but that's not really feedback. I didn't completely answer your question, but this is all
that's
I have
fine.
now.
No, we'll go around with
Audience
that.
interaction. Yeah, that counts.
It's good. What is the hardest thing about playing the veena?
There are a lot of hard things sometimes. Maybe one is this: the delivery of slightly paced, complex gamaka-based phrases. Something like. Something like that, I don't know.
Wow. I think that's a first for LCF of having a response to the quickfire on an instrument.
On an instrument.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Okay, so if you could take 3 possessions to a desert island, what would they be?
Yeah.
Only 3 items.
A flashlight, and I'm crazy about flashlights. So, flashlight, a picture of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, and a very high quality water bottle, a thermos.
Okay, so no veena. Interesting.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Maybe for the island, I'm just good with my voice. I don't know.
Okay. So, somewhere in the world you would like to visit but haven't been yet.
One is Banff.
Ooh,
Okay.
Lovely. Arabi or Devagandhari?
Very tough. Come on. Can I say both?
Okay, one time period you would like to travel back to?
Bhagavan's period.
I assumed you'd say that.
Okay. Auto rickshaw or car?
For driving or traveling?
Traveling.
Up to you.
Maybe for driving it's going to be auto, because I've always wanted to be an auto driver since my childhood. So yeah, maybe for traveling, car of course, but driving, yeah, auto.
5 people, past or present, for your dream dinner party.
Jacob Collier, Raghu sir.
You can go with 3 if you want.
Eckhart Tolle. It's not going to be a party then, so.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It would be a very, very interesting discussion over dinner. My follow-up question would be, what would you cook for them?
Definitely one paneer butter masala, and a kadai veg, and some kind of a togayal.
For dessert, would it be chocolate or paisam?
Chocolate.
What's something that most people don't know about you?
That I'm a huge Harry Potter fan.
I think we can all relate to that.
Your favorite memory from your last tour abroad?
Standing beside Niagara.
Are you a summer or a winter person?
I'm actually a spring person.
Okay.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
What's your favorite spot to hang out in?
I just like going into the hill. It's beautiful. Yeah, in Arunachala.
And I think it's really nice that, again, on your YouTube channel, you've done almost a no talking tour of Tiruvannamalai, which was really, really nice to see.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of that. I think everyone
I
would.
didn't know this. I didn't know this. I'm now going to check this out.
And there was this person who was nice enough to lend me this binaural microphone, which I used to go around with, and it was beautiful.
Here's an interesting one. What is the biggest misconception you think people have about you?
I think it's that I'm very disciplined. Is that, and then another one is that they think that I'm fully like drenched in music all the time and drenched in spirituality. No, I would love to.
Well, it's great to hear that we're all human. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess our final question could be, if you were a superhero, what would your special power be?
That's one I'm trying to answer since 1 month. So I need to be able to fly and materialize water.
Okay.
So that comes to 21. So very well answered. I guess the next section is we really want to hear you perform. I'm sure the Rasicals will be waiting for you to play something in this podcast. What is there anything in particular that you wanted to play for us, or that you're in the mood to play right now?
Well, I was thinking if I would play Emayya Rama. It's one of my favorites.
Lovely, beautiful.
Sure. Emayya Rama Brahmendra Gula Punina. Emayya Rama Brahmendra Gula Punina. Emayya Vashama Shri Rama Emayya Rama. Kamari vinuta gunadhama kuvelayadala. Kamari vinuta. సుతుడనుచు దశరథుడు హితుడనుచు యాదవులు. సుతుడనుచు దశరథుడు హితుడనుచు యాదవులు. సుతుడనుచు శ్రీమధుడనుచు భూపతులు గొలిచెరిగాని. శ్రీమధుడనుచు బ్రహ్మేంద్రాదులపునైన నీ మాయ తెలియ వశమా. Sri Rama Emayya Rama.
Amazing, amazing.
Beautiful. So beautiful. It feels like a real blessing to have heard you play.
Ramana, that was fantastic. From my side, actually, this is a personal request. I attended a Raga Kacheri of yours last August. You started with one of my favorite songs, Narada Gurusvami in Darbar. If you wouldn't mind playing some of that song or that song, you'd have a very grateful Rasika here.
Sure. Narada Gurusvami Narada Gurusvami Ikane Narada Gurusvami Ikane. Sarpu Sangita Yoga Nigama Sarpu Sangita Yoga Nigama. ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಪುರಾಣ ಗಮತನಿತಮು ಯವರಿವಲ್ಲಗರಿಗೆ ಪತಿನಿಹಾರಮಿರುವಬುದ್ಧಿರಗಮಗರಿಗೆ ದ್ಯುತಿ Gita Sharadabra Nivina Bulagavaru Karige.
Vale. Thank you so much, Ramana.
When you sing on stage, was it, because I noticed that recently you now have a mic for singing. Earlier on you didn't. Was that something someone encouraged you to do, or is it you felt like you needed to be heard?
Actually, you know what, Akka, I actually had mics
Since day
the
one?
beginning.
Or maybe a headset. So it's like permanently there.
The thing with that is, like, I might say like a ballet or a cuff. Or the thing is, usually during concerts, I murmur certain things to myself. Sometimes even like, "Oh my God, chi" or something.
It's very obvious also from your concerts, from the way that you look at your accompanists, and even just the
Dynamic.
the smile on your face, you know, that you're really enjoying it, which is a really good example for us.
We're very, very happy we got to hear you play today, Ramana. So for the final section today, we have our challenge, which you will go head to head with LCF's Ranjan, who is plays the guitar in the Carnatic style.
Sure.
The Raga challenge. So you're given a short clue, and you have to basically decipher the ragam.
So an example would be, so if I said melody of Swan, the raga that you try and guess is Hamsanadam, or ornaments of Shiva would be Shankarabanam. Those are two examples.
So, and the trick here today is that instead of answering in words, because you both got, you got a veena and a guitar, so if you could play your response to whatever you feel the answer is on the instrument.
Yes, okay. Goddess of art.
I'm guessing that is... Is that right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah, that's what it is. Heroine.
You know your Tamil literature?
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay, so Ranjan, for you. One with beautiful hair.
Kesha is hair in Sanskrit, so I guess...
Osan, Sharke.
So, dear to the son of Dasharatha.
Oh.
Amazing. Yes, that was Ramapriya.
It's quite easy, but we'll go with it anyway. Essential morning beverage for many.
I think you got the beverage there. That was Kapi indeed. Don't know what it is about moons today coming up with Ramanats. Flame of moon.
Ah.
Lovely. So that was indeed Chandrajyoti.
Downpour of nectar.
Country.
I think it is this.
Ah.
Oh, Francis.
Okay, I was thinking.
Oh yeah. More relevant.
No, I think they're both correct.
Both valid. Nate and dish. Yep.
See, we're looking from the Tamil and Sanskrit viewpoint, both. So
I think we're calling that a tie. So you can both split the points, and that was a pretty well done challenge. We just wanted every artist to just say maybe a few seconds what their thoughts are on this, or a message to everyone.
Well, I just feel, other than the isolation that we all have to follow and hold up to, I think just a minute of prayer is something that we all can do daily.
Thank you.
that's a beautiful message. Something that unites all of us across not only the music world but across all fields and all walks of life. So what a poignant and appropriate way for us to end our podcast this week.
There is no way I can ask us to finish the podcast without hearing your Mangalam, your Tirunamale Mangalam. So I think that would be the most beautiful way to end the podcast. So please keep in mind.